The member for Hume.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. My question is to the Assistant Treasurer. Will the Assistant Treasurer update the House on the government's actions to crack down on multinational tax avoidance and ensure that the companies meet their tax obligations? Are there any risks to this approach?
I call the Assistant Treasurer. There will be silence on my left.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I thank the member for Hume for his question and acknowledge the economic expertise he brings to this place. Madam Speaker, multinationals are not new. Companies like IBM and Shell and Citibank have been trading goods and services across state boundaries for nearly a century. And with the increasing digitalisation of our economy, it's becoming more and more difficult for tax authorities to appropriately tax multinationals. So that's why the Abbott government is moving on a number of fronts. First, legislatively, we have tightened the thin capitalisation rules to prevent excessive debt deductions. Second, resourcing. We have given more resources where it's needed most, so that the International Tax Division in the ATO is larger under us than it was under Labor. And we are working cooperatively, led by the Treasurer through the G20 process, to get greater information sharing. But, Madam Speaker, I'm asked, are there any risks to this approach? Well, the biggest risks are coming from those opposite, because just the other week, we passed through the Senate legislation which will give us a saving to the budget of $1.3 billion by improving the tax concessions, the R&D tax concessions for some of Australia's largest companies, including multinationals. But do you know what? Those opposite opposed it, even though it was your legislation when you went to the last election. So, Madam Speaker, I have a quote here that I'd like to share from you. It's a very good quote. It's as follows. We said we would remove the R&D tax concession for large companies with a $20 billion Australian turnover or more to ensure innovation spending is directed to where we'll have the biggest benefit. It's a down payment on the repair that the budget needs. Now, who do you think said that, Madam Speaker? Prime Minister, did you say that? Treasurer, did you say that? Did the member for McMahon, the Professor of Ouzo Economics, with a Masters in the marginal tax scales? No. Madam Speaker, it was the member for Lilly. The member for Lilly. Euromoney's Treasurer of the Year and the second most famous graduate out of Nambour High, Madam Speaker. Now, Madam Speaker, always look at what Labor does, not what Labor says. And I want to finish with a quote, Madam Speaker. It comes from an interview on the AM program between Chris Ullman and the Leader of the Opposition on the 17th of July. The question from Chris Ullman is, to the Leader of the Opposition, why won't you even back your own cuts? Answer from the Leader of the Opposition, Chris, we're the Labor Party. Enough said, Madam Speaker.